Richard, would you like to do that?
Valerie, I am the co-chair of the Big Valley EMS Working Group and the chair of the Yes Committee for Yes on Major Tax and Y, which is the Southern Cascades Community Services District. X will create the district and Y will benefit the tax for the district. First, I would like to say thank you to the Lassen Board of Supervisors for your unwavering support of Southern Cascades Community Services District. We have worked with the board for the past year or so during this creation, trying to get it on the ballot, and to have your support has been very, very, very welcome. What we'd like to talk about today is where we are with the CSC. As you know, we will be on the June 3rd ballot. We have been working with the Aiden Fire Protection District and come to an agreement with them. They have possession of an ambulance that was given to the Aiden Fire Protection District by the Lassen Healthcare District in Alberta. They have agreed to turn that ambulance over to the Southern Cascades District once it's formed. We've also been working with Modoc Medical Center. We have asked them to return the advanced life support equipment that belongs on that ambulance. At this point in time, they have tentatively agreed to look into it. It sounds to me like it's going to happen, like we're going to at least get part of it and part of that equipment back, which will be very, very important for where we're going with this. The next thing we'd like to talk about is the education portion of this. We have been working with a group, AST, Absolute Safety Training. They are a nonprofit private corporation, and they are going to be helping us with training for both EMTs and also for educators, people who will be willing to be able to come here and put on classes and do the training here in Big Valley, which will bring a lot of people from out of the area here to train. The other thing we'd like to talk about is what the creation of the CSC would do as far as the economic development in our area. As you know, with the loss of the Aiden ambulance, we also lost jobs for community members. People have either moved out of the area or taken jobs out of the area. So with this training and the creation of the district, we will bring jobs back to our area with the potential of $80,000 a year in taxes and wages for this area. So we are working on a candidates night. The Big Valley EMS Working Group is hosting candidates night for Lassen and Modoc County candidates that will be running in the June 3rd primary election. This night will be held this Thursday, the 24th. Candidates will begin speaking at 6:30. Prior to candidates night, we are having a fundraiser to help earn some money so that we can promote the majors X and Y. As you guys know, it costs money to print signs and do advertising and promote this. So from 4:30 to 6, we will be having an Mexican feed. It will be sponsored by the Big Valley Market here in town. The cost will be $10 a person. And like I said, it will be run from 4:30 to 6. If you are not going to attend candidates night, you can take your meal to go. So I think that is all I have. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions for him? Yeah, I just trying to, I mean, on the drive up here this morning, I mean, you can't, it's really hits home the reality of how, dangerous it is not to have an ambulance service, and, yeah, it's crazy. So, I'm excited, for you, and, look forward to you guys getting the service that you need up there. Thanks for all your efforts for the whole community. Is there any questions of the public on this side? yeah, this was, just to receive the report on how action is taken, so, thanks.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna move on, we'll take up our, information consent calendar. Is there anything we need to do for consideration? Not, or approve? Move in second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, let's take up item 8.1.
Mr. Chairman, as you are all aware, Director of Health Court Services, Maria Carvalho, resigned effective last Tuesday, the 15th. Ms. Cote has been essentially acting in that role for some time during Ms. Carvalho's absence, and it's my recommendation that we appoint her as an acting Director of Child Support Services, having recruitment and appointment position.
I'll second it. Is there any public comment on this item before the board takes action? Okay, it's been moved and second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Chair votes aye. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to item H2.
Mr. Chairman, the board directed me to negotiate a contract with Mr. Burns, a county contract for the position of county council, and I have done so. That contract is attached as your item H2, and Mr. Burns is in the audience. We can go through that in whatever level of detail the board would like to.
I think we all of us went through it pretty much at length, and I think it contains everything that has been discussed. So, is there any comments or anybody else from the board? Okay. Before we take any action, then I'll turn it over to public comment. Is there anybody who'd like to comment?
This letter is in regards to the Burns appointment. County Health considers it incompatible appointment. And I'd like just to read the brief letter to you, and there's a handout. This public board intends to hire Robert Burns, the current elected district attorney, to the position of county counsel, and allow him to concurrently serve in both public positions. Government Code 1099 states that an appointed public official shall not simultaneously hold two public offices that are incompatible. Offices are incompatible when there is a significant clash of duties or loyalties, and I want to stress loyalties between offices. Number one, significant incompatibility exists when the district attorney's office could prosecute a supervisor for breaking the law, and the county council would defend the supervisor. Number two, significant incompatibility exists when the district attorney decides not to prosecute a supervisor for breaking the law. Number three, significant incompatibility exists when the district attorney decides not to prosecute the county council for breaking the law. Robert Burns cannot hold two public offices simultaneously. When two public offices are incompatible, a public officer shall be deemed to have forfeited the first office upon ceding to the second. This is enforceable pursuant to Section 803 of the Code of Civil Procedure. Any person, not just county health, any person may file a complaint accompanied by a petition, which we've already started, with the Attorney General of California. The attachment has the Government Code 1099 and also the Code of Civil procedure copy about number 3. Over the past few months, when they began to us that we were actually going to hire Mr. Burns, was simply outraged by the public. We kind of thought that you'd come to your senses about this appointment. There probably is only 1 or 2 more people in this town that are just like more than Mr. Burns. But you're going to do this thing anyway because you have no ability in the past, your history, you have no ability of hiring a competent county council. That's just your history. But we ask you quietly now to not hire him. You have one other issue here. Mr. Chapman has given Mr. Burns $6,800, which creates a conflict. You can throw out the conflict of interest there. You've done it before, and you're probably going to do it now. So he has to recuse himself from the vote. Mr. Wazik has a criminal complaint and possibly a civil complaint against him that will create an immediate conflict, so he must recuse himself. You've never listened to the right thing to do, and we really don't expect you to do the right thing today, but he will cause a lot of controversy, which this board does not need at this point in time, and it's on you.
Thank you. For those of you, I know we're here in another part of the county. Anybody here that doesn't normally get to experience the board meetings in Susanville, it's nice you get a taste of what we have to deal with every week. So with that, council, would you like to comment on?
Well, actually, historically, the district attorney's office and county council have one office in California, so they're not all incompatible. And there's AG opinions that are replete with support that these 2 offices are not incompatible. So, no problem. And it's a few weeks, months, at most.
Okay. You're happy with?
No problem.
All right. Would Mr. Burns like to, short on words,
I have appreciated the opportunity to faithfully participate in the recruitment process for the county council position. I was excited at the prospect that that position had come open. And it's been my privilege to serve as district attorney. But change is good. Change is good for the community, change is good for me, and change is good in general. And so I'm appreciative of the opportunity that the board is, I think, granting me to serve, to continue to serve the citizens of Lassen County. It's been an honor, and that's about what I have to say. I'm perfectly content to answer any questions that you have, and I look forward to eagerly serving this board of supervisors and the citizens of Lassen County. Thank you.
before we take action, I would like to say that I'm also excited to work with you for the remainder of my term, and I have no doubt that you'll be doing that kind of job.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so if there's no more comment. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to say something? All righty, so the action request is to approve the contract and authorize the chairman to sign. Do you have a motion? Everybody speak up at once for a second. Give me a second. Okay. All right, I move in second.
All in favor, please, Jim, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Could we-
Yeah, exactly. Madam Clerk, poll vote.
Supervisor Chapman?
Aye.
Supervisor Alba?
Aye.
Supervisor Kyle? Supervisor Hammond?
Aye.
Chairman Lassen?
Aye. Congratulations. Okay. move on to item H3.
As the county liaison for community wildfire protection plan. The last one was out of date, and so anyway, so things have kind of been substantial for the last year, so anyway, the new MOU is getting forwarded out and signed by all of the participants, and they've got the Forest Service, the DO, there's a whole slew of anyway, so they've all signed except for Lassen County, were the last ones. The Forest Service is the big one to get through. But anyway, so this is before us, for our signatures, we want to sign this to continue participating. And with that, I will move that we authorize the chairman to sign the MOU with the community wildfire protection plan.
Do you have a second? Before we take any actions, any members of the public that would like to comment on this item? Any board members have anything to say?
I do have one item, and I wasn't able to see it clearly delineated in the MOU, and it was an issue that came up. First of all, I'm fully in support of being a party to and involved with the group in this context, but the one concern I have, and I don't see it clearly identified in the various sections of it, and that is the financial accountability of the funds that are handled through this program. And a lot of public funds come into the mix, as we saw in the presentation earlier with the PIT, the RCD, in terms of the fuel treatments and so forth. And we did have an issue over the last couple of years with the Lassen County Fire Safe Council because of their private nonprofit status having the position that since they are a private nonprofit corporation, that they do not have to account for the public dollars in a public way. It's true, a private nonprofit does not have to account for private funds in a public setting, but when they accept public funds and conduct business on behalf of the public using those funds, there are fiduciary requirements for their disclosure and accounting for those funds. And that was an issue that created a breach between the Lassen Fire Safe Council and the Board of Supervisors. Now, at that point, they pointed out when they came in and produced the documents, their financial records, which, interesting enough, we found out not through our efforts, but through efforts of individuals in the community who were able to obtain their tax records via the IRS. Apparently, they have to be posted online. And so there is some disclosure that is available in that fashion for a private individual to basically secure those documents rather than having those documents readily available to the public agencies involved. So I would like to see that the agreement, before we ratify it and support it, that there be clear language incorporated in the memorandum of understanding that the financial documents of the groups that are receiving the grants be put on file with the county executive office so that there is a record with the county clerk's office, so that there is a record in the location where the public can review the financial accounting for the funds that would be handled through this MOU. So that's a basic request. Unless somebody can point out something that I read through this here several times trying to find clear language to do that, this is really was the old MOU, kind of cleaned up a little bit, but it does not incorporate the financial accounting and reporting responsibility that should be entailed.
I respect, and I know there was a lot of discussion and you've expressed your dissatisfaction with the fire safety in the past,
My dissatisfaction wasn't with the fire safety council, but with the fact that the funds were not being properly accounted for in a public environment. And when you have members of that fire safety board drawing salaries and having individuals who are contracting and drawing compensation for their work, which is fine and good, and I think they deserve compensation, but to have that disclosed so that we we know how much is being utilized in that fashion in advance rather than years after the fact. And I think that was the issue that was brought forth. So it's something that the law requires that they do. It would be simple if they would just do it and accept that responsibility in lieu of handing over the public funds to them. I mean, I want to see them do the work, and they should account for that.
What I wanted to say was that, those issues were brought up in the fire safety council, pointed out that their books are audited and all that, but I mean, I'm of the opinion that, it's a tested relationship between certain board members and the fire safety council. There's Buck Parks, who deals with Dolphin, before they've done tremendous work together. In all fairness, the fire safety council is not here to speak on this. They have stated numerous times in the board meeting, Paul, I think you also attended fire safety council, and I don't personally want to hold this up because of that.
Well, I would say there's no need to hold it up, but I think when we pass the motion, it'd be nice to have in the motion that there be a request for an amendment to the MOU that would clearly, stipulate that responsibility to be added to it. So as a condition for our participation, and I think it's an easy one to be accomplished. And I'm surprised, to be honest with you, since this kind of research, and I appreciate the effort of Supervisor Albaugh for bringing it forward, is knowing full well that history of the last 2 or 3 years and the concerns and the dispute over the accounting, that issue wasn't addressed and incorporated in the new revised MOU. But that being as it's may, I realize that there are some folks who do not want that included, and that's fine with me because without it being included, I cannot support it, even though I do support the effort of the collaboration with all these departments.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to say, we want to be careful on how you word what Jim is asking for, just like what we're saying. They got a $500,000 grant from the NRCS Conservation Initiative grant, and they turned around letters that for $1.8 million plus. And, I mean, it would be a county nightmare to know what one goes to what and what percentage of it, et cetera. I mean, it would just be almost an accounting nightmare if you want to be.
Well, if they count for all their funds, there's no nightmare involved. If you see X number of dollars and this is how we spend it, it's not a
I
nightmare.
think they're fine, and they could just submit their audit, they could do their, I think something like that would be fine.
Well, that's all we asked. That was what they were very hesitant and unwilling to do. And partly because when their tax documents, which they filed, revealed that amongst 3 individuals, they combined pulled down $250,000 worth of compensation for less than $1 million worth of grants. So, I mean, I think when we talk about taking the money and putting it on the ground and doing the improvement work, and then to find out that a quarter of the funds were consumed by 3 individuals as a condition to be able to do that is a little bit extreme. So when we get criticized about some of the excess salaries we see in local government for positions, and then find out that we have this kind of quasi-independent public-private partnership, maybe in the private sector, that kind of pay and compensation is normal. In the public sector, it's not. And so I think that's what we want to make sure that we know in advance to do the leveraging. Because if we're not putting as much money into salaries and we put more into matching, maybe we can get more than 1.8 million. Those are the kind of policy considerations that would be benefited by full disclosure up front.
Unless I'm missing something in reading the memorandum of understanding, I don't believe it's the intent of the memorandum of understanding to be a financing vehicle.
I think in the memorandum of understanding of defining our working relationship, I think having a paragraph, a sentence pointing there saying that all the parties, receiving and dispersing federal and state grants on behalf of the county of Lassen, because they need us as that umbrella. There be an accounting for those funds vis-a-vis by filing, whether it's their tax report, their financial audit, or whatever the document is, with a designated office within the county. It could be the CEO's office, it could be clerk's office, it could be wherever.
I might just suggest that at the point that we consider funding these efforts, maybe that would be the appropriate time to require those reports.
I agree.
Okay, anyway, we need to move on to, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor of the motion as it stands, signify. No, I believe I asked for public comment. If I, but before we take action, I believe I did, but I'll ask again. Is there anybody that'd like to comment? I don't believe I did, just, so, in any case. All right. Very well. Thank you, I think, for all you've been doing. Very appreciate it. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye.
I'll vote no.
Okay, chair votes aye, thank you. Alrighty. Okay, let's move on to item, H4, general insurance.
Mr. Chairman, H4 and H5 are very similar recommended actions. As the board's aware, when I assumed the role of county administrative officer, aka chief executive officer, that leaves a vacancy in both of our insurance fund directorships. I, as treasurer, was the director for the county for both of those. I'd like to remain being the director, but the county administrative officer historically has been the alternate, and so that leaves a vacancy there. The JPA agreements require that we have a director and an alternate director, and Manoa, the undersheriff, has expressed interest in the past and currently in serving as an alternate on those boards, and it's my recommendation that the board make that appointment.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or members? Anybody from the public like to comment on this issue?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion.
Yes. All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the appointment, say aye. Aye. Chair votes aye. Okay, we'll move on to item H5. This is the CSAC item.
And the exact same logic applies here. That I think it's important that the director and alternate be the same for both of those funds, and they both deal with the same issues.
I make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Any public comment? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Chair votes aye. Okay. Item H6, county council.
Mr. Chairman, we would like to go ahead and increase the contract we currently have amended to raise the ceiling from 10,000 to 20,000 for our continued calendar coverage for CPS and for the training that's going on.
What is the training of this contract? If I may ask a question?
Meeting next Monday with this firm about getting a contract for fiscal year 14-15. So this should more than bridge getting us to the end of this year's fiscal term. So we just put a dollar set on it, not an actual term limit on it while we're trying to decide.
So we're going, over the next 2 months for the balance of this fiscal year, we're going to spend an additional $10,000?
I wouldn't think so, but hopefully we wouldn't have to come back in front of you while we organize. This is one of the areas we're reorganizing in HSS as well. This used to be under this call on it. This also used to be 0.5 with Mr. Crabtree and this call on, and we're reorganizing that.
We hope not to reach the 20,000 mark, but
How much have you spent today?
almost 10,000 right up against the.
We're getting close.
Yes.
We have a couple $1,000s left on it right now. We had an extremely heavy March calendar with many contested hearings. Yes.
Any other questions? Anybody from the public like to comment on this item? Okay, bring it back for action.
One additional question. Expanding the contract